So hey guys, welcome to another Warframe video, and today we're going to take a look at a finisher slash crowd control build for Inaros. So this is just a 1 Forma build, and what we're going to do with that Forma is add 1V. So the aura I'm using is corrosive projection. This fits the polarity, so it's going to give us a ton of mod capacity, and it means that we don't have to use another Forma to Forma the polarity away or change it, and it's, well, the best scaling end game aura there is. Now, I'm using Rush as my Exodus mod because it works pretty well with this build, and it also fits the polarity, because what you're going to do with this build is blind enemies with desiccation, run up to them and finish them off with your melee weapon, which is going to restore a ton of health to you. Then, to increase the crowd control duration from desiccation, and to also reduce the drain on Sandstorm, I'm using Prime Continuity for some power duration. Then we have Rage, because Inaros, you don't have any shields and you have a ton of health. So anytime you take damage, you will generate energy, which is awesome, so that's why we have Rage here. Then there is Flow, which allows you to bank up more energy, which is really good for Inaros, because with Flow you can set up a ton of enemies for devouring and simply roll over them with Sandstorm without having to take damage or pick up energy orbs to get energy. Then we have the defensive mods, which in this case are Steel Fiber and Vitality, because you have a ton of armor and a ludicrous amount of health. And then there is Streamline, and some people really don't like Streamline on Inaros because you can generate so much energy with the Rage. But I still like it here because, first of all, it helps reduce the amount of health Scarab Armor is going to take, so you can pump up Scarab Armor to 100% in like 1 or 2 channels, which is pretty good, instead of like 3, maybe 4. That's really good. Then it reduces the drain on Sandstorm, which is also really nice. And once again, it allows you to set up more enemies with Devour to simply roll over them with Sandstorm, eat them, and create your Sand Shadows. So in short, Streamline is actually really good on Inaros. And finally, I'm using Overextended and Stretch, which increase the range of Sandstorm, so I can devour enemies in a larger area. And it also increases the range of Desiccation by a ton. You can pop Desiccation, and it will crowd control like an entire room in the void, which is awesome. Now, what I really like about this build, and Inaros in general, is that when you play it smart, you are pretty much immortal. The amount of health you can generate with his abilities is ridiculous, and when you use them, as I said, smart, you simply cannot die. And even if you do, you just get locked up into a sarcophagus and you can revive yourself. But that's not everything I like about this build. Tankiness is good, being immortal is fun every now and then, but I really like that this build doesn't really cripple any of Inaros' abilities. And that's really good, because Inaros' toolkit is simply amazing. Being able to stun enemies with desiccation prevents a ton of damage. And if you're missing some health, you can finish a couple of enemies off and get a ton of health from Inaros' passive. Then you can stun enemies with Devour and set them up for Sandstorm devouring, so you can get a ton of bullet sponges around you in the form of Sand Shadows, and you'll be doing all of that while trying to top off your Scarab Armor so you get that meaty armor bonus. It's a very active style of tanking, it's not Rhino where you press a button and you're tanky. Not that there is anything wrong with that, I really like Rhino, but pressing a button and being tanky is simply not rewarding. With Inaros, being tanky and doing well is very rewarding, because, well, you did it. You made those decisions that led to you not being dead. Which is a very funny sentence, but you know what I mean. So I definitely recommend you try this build out. It's a ton of fun to play. It does have a bit of a learning curve, but it's also very rewarding to pull off. And hey, it's just a 1 Forma build, and we added a V. And I can't think of a build for Inaros that wouldn't use at least 1 mod with a V polarity in it. So even if you really don't like this build, that V polarity is gonna come in handy later on. And before I end the video, I want to say thank you to a couple of people. So thank you, Mr. Hawklaw1111, for sending me 2 Lotus Noggles. Another Lotus Noggle was given to me by Mr. Jonico, so thank you very much for that. And finally, there is Mr. Blackheart651, and he sent me 2 different Sagatra. So thank you very much, dude. I love them. And that's pretty much it for the video. So I thank you very much for watching once again, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.